Number 5.
The weather seems to be very, very changeable. In the prairies, we might see cooler temperatures. In Newfoundland as well.
Number 4.
I'm a rainbow on a sunny day.
I'm Wonder Woman.
And I'm Superman. You just look wonderful.
I'm sweating in the polyester.
You know,
Number 3.
What Calgarians are planning to dress up as.
Time to consult an expert.
Right, pretty Alice?
Number 2.
You're gonna come with me, right?
oh no, I never go in there.
And number 1.
The wet weather held off just long enough for Halloween here in Halifax. Pumpkins lit up the streets of Halifax as people headed downtown for some post-trick-or-treating fun.
Well, it's Halloween, and maybe you are in the process of doing those last-minute preparations, right? Or you don't have a pumpkin. I know that here behind the scenes at the Weather Network, a lot of people still don't have their pumpkins. So it's Halloween. Let's check in with Kevin and see what it's like up toward Barrie first. Thank you so much, Kevin. And we've been live streaming our programming due to the snow in Northeast Ontario. And yeah, it's shocking when you see these images. Snowfall is in the northeast, but look that through the evening it gets down further into the cottage country, and then some mixing to where Kevin was in Barrie. But we're not expecting to see the mix, at least for the evening, for the GTA, for Southern Ontario. So essentially, if you draw a line on the 401, it should stay in the form of rain. It's a cold rain, mind you, and the winds will be picking up in strength. In fact, even by later on, let's say 8 p.m. or so, the winds will be from the north in Sarnia, probably about 70 kilometers per hour in gusts, so it'll definitely be raw there. The snowfall totals 5 to 10 centimeters in northeast Ontario around Sudbury, and then possibly some snow. We've been already seeing that so far today in the Dundalk Highlands of midwestern Ontario, and then the low moves away with some mixing in Toronto. Makes you wonder, do you believe or not? Let me know on Twitter at Sheryl Plouffe. We're going to take a look at your short-term forecast right now to get you through the evening and overnight. What is this going to mean in terms of our, so we should stay in rain. However, there's possibly going to be some mixing by tomorrow morning. We've already seen snow, though, from this system. And here's Chrissy with the details. Thank you so much, Chrissy. And we have this low that's going to result in some northerly winds. In fact, the winds by this evening will be picking up in strength as the evening goes on around the Sarnia area in southwestern Ontario. Temps will drop there first before they drop in the GTA. And then tomorrow morning, it's possible we may start off with some mixing in the GTA proper. So looking at this low pressure system, it joins forces with the nor'easter. Ooh, creepy, very scary stuff. Hopefully you are prepared for this evening, and maybe you're leaving work early. I don't know. We're going to take a look actually at our conditions weather-wise in just a moment. But first, let's go and check in with Kevin. Thank you, Kevin. So Kevin had an umbrella, right? It's raining outside, but it could be worse. It could be snowing, as it is. And you can get snow, no question, but we're going to continue to see the progression of the cold air from northeast Ontario getting awfully close and right through southern Ontario overnight tonight. That may result in some mixing in the GTA as well. So off goes the low pressure system. Notice the barbs, these wind arrows. In fact, this evening, for even trick-or-treating time around Sarnia, it could be very windy with that fetch off of Lake Huron. Some winds maybe 60, 70 kilometers per hour. So that will not be so much fun. You may have noticed that all through the month of October, we have been bringing you some special programming, including Angry Planet, Storm Hunters, and now Unearthed Living Ice on Sunday at 7 and 10 p.m. Here's a preview of what to expect. You'll watch the conclusion of that at 7 and 10 p.m. right here exclusively on the Weather Network on Sunday. Let's turn it over to Kevin. It's Halloween after all, but we need to be mindful of safety. Thank you, Kevin. And of course, this weekend, we are turning the clocks back. Just a reminder to do that I think the best time to do that would be head to bed on Saturday. But let's take a look at what we are dealing with weather-wise, because this low pressure system's coming through, had snowfall. Significant snow. It's a winter wonderland in Sudbury already. This cold air is coming down, the northerly winds setting up, the values are dropping overnight. We will, in Toronto and the GTA, have warm enough temperatures for rain through the trick-or-treating hours, but then overnight it may turn to snow. Then next week we've got another low coming. However, this will initially draw up some warmer temperatures for us. So much so that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're in the teens once again, and then we'll see the drop by Thursday with rainfall. Now, what we are dealing with for the start of tomorrow, though, is very interesting because... Well, in terms of the low pressure system that's coming through for us, it is going to get awfully chilly overnight tonight in southern Ontario. For the time being, rain for the trick-or-treating hours south and along the 401. But north, like in Sudbury, it's been snowing. However, Chrissy Van, she's still smiling through it all. Thank you, Chrissy. So snow has arrived. Winter Wonderland in Sudbury. Will we see some snow? Yes, it's possible that we may. But for those who are going out maybe a little bit later, like 8 p.m. or 7 p.m., somewhere in there, I'm talking about the 6-foot-tall trick-or-treaters, then, yeah, it's going to be a little bit windier. We have rainfall across southern Ontario, and then mixing further north toward Barrie, Orillia, and even Midwestern Ontario down into the Dundalk Highlands, where it's slightly higher in elevation. We've already detected snow. So it is in southern Ontario already. It's just most people are not experiencing that at this point. So here comes the low pressure system. Those winds really knifing down, especially around Sarnia. Even for the kids heading out here, 6, 7, 8 p.m., we're going to have very strong winds from the north. It's going to make it feel very raw. Then the clearing begins between this and the next system. In fact, that energy does merge with the nor'easter, which we're continuing to track in our Stormwatch coverage for Atlantic Canada and the live feed. You can watch it as well, which is theweathernetwork.com/live. And then we have across Ontario another low. It draws up some warmth ahead of it, though.
Stormwatch coverage continues. It's a double-edged sword. We have the snow in Ontario, central and northern Ontario, heavy amounts. So it's been falling all day where Chrissy Van has been in Sudbury. Plus, we're also watching the advance of a nor'easter for the Atlantic provinces.
Yeah, so we'll have more on the Halloween forecast for the evening coming up.
That's
but
true.
Look at this. This is from today, folks. Yeah. So, it's the end of October, Chris. It's Northern Ontario.
Right.
So we can get that kind of thing. But it still comes as a bit of a shock to the system when you see the images, right?
Everybody, Chrissy, was interviewing to a person. We're all, we've had it before, not quite this much. And this is a big thing. So it's been snowing all morning.
So this has changed a little bit as the week has gone on, where now basically across southern Ontario, the 401 is kind of like the dividing line where we'll see some cool rain for the evening period for the trick-or-treaters, but then the mixing begins north of the city and even up into the Owen Sound area, might even end up with a couple of centimeters of snow.
Now, you take a look at the opaque blue around the shores of Georgian Bay, mix them together with the green as well, so that's where we have that's where the pink comes in. That is the mixing.
So let's take a look actually at our conditions in terms of from the rainfall that we see here. We have cool temperatures still this afternoon across southern Quebec, Chris. And then Atlantic Canada, of course, is gearing up for the nor'easter. And Environment Canada has already issued a lot of warnings and some statements on this so far.
Hence the nor'easter. But now let's talk about, let's close it out with the temperatures for trick-or-treating.
All right, so last minute preparations. Oh yeah, we had some snow in North Bay. It's been snowing in northern Ontario the last couple of days, in fact, getting some snow. So as of this morning, these are what the totals looked like. Kapuskasing, 1 centimeter. Sudbury ended up with 4. Geraldton, 3. Actually, the day previous, they had 15 centimeters of snow. And my hometown, Timmins, 1 centimeter of snow. So let's take a look actually at these types. So just go through a couple of maps for Halloween. We have this afternoon mixing south of Sudbury toward the cottage country areas and rain across southern Ontario. But for Halloween Eve, this is what it looks like. We have rain across the southern tier of the province. So for most major population centers, we should be in the rain. Let's check in with Chrissy on that snow in Sudbury. Thanks, Chrissy. As long as we're prepared for it, we know what to expect, so we'll dress appropriately. We have wind chills on Saturday morning that will be, well, first of all, we have wind chills. That in and of itself is a story, isn't it? So these temperatures are going to be cold to start the day, and we might even have some rain and snow falling from the sky in Toronto for Saturday morning. That's what the icon's showing. Sunday, some brighter skies expected. So this is a snapshot of the next few days, but what does the long range hold? Chris May has that answer.
I don't know, but I think Deb's in therapy now.
She's the scream queen, no question.
There's no doubt about that. I'll be honest, there's no way that I would have been able to do that because it wouldn't have been quality. We would have never been able to air it. It would have been a solid stream of bleeps. It would have been awful. I would have scared me to death.
Well, we're going to talk more about your Halloween forecast in a moment, but first we have storm watch here. This is the Atlantic nor'easter
Of Superior, and this continued all the way through to Sudbury, where Chrissy Van was today.
Yeah, we sent our team up there because it's the first real significant snow of the season, and it's just in stark contrast to what we're experiencing across southern Ontario for now. However, some changes are coming. No, not so across the southern tier of the province, but as you head up towards, say, Owen Sound,
right.
Port Elgin, places like Collingwood and Barrie will be in the mixing for the evening.
Mixing, a good indication of it is this. If you just remember this map here, this is the rainfall forecast through tomorrow. On top of that, the snowfall forecast, very same Georgian Bay, just as much blue as there is green. So, to the west.
Yeah, across the prairies, we actually have some decent temperatures. Oh, very nice. Well, I had offered to Nate that I would lend him my pirate costume. He declined. Okay, let's take a look at North Bay. So, Nate, the cold air is making its way down into southern Ontario. We're not quite there yet. Temperatures still 7-8 degrees across the south, and we have rainfall. So it's going to be a cool, chilly evening for trick-or-treaters, but it will be staying in the form of rain, although we have already detected some snow even early this morning in the Dundalk Highlands. So if you're up in this area, Mount Forest region, you likely could be getting some mixing earlier. But this is what the afternoon temperatures look like. And then in terms of mixing, that potential is further south of Sudbury through the afternoon. We have rain across southern Ontario, and we will see that mixing line get awfully close to us in the evening period, but it's going to stay in. And there are also some strong winds picking up too. But let's check in with Sudbury and Chrissy.
Is it a trick or a treat? Well, it's kind of hard to decide here in the city of Sudbury.
Thank you so much, Chrissy. Yeah, absolutely. We have to be careful as it is with all of the ghosts and goblins who will be roaming the streets this evening. And then on top of that, we've got snowfall. So not the best of conditions for driving in northern Ontario. The forecast this evening, again, we're largely looking at some cool showers, but notice the temperatures here. Now, this is where we start to get into that territory of possible mixing through the evening and especially late in the evening. So depending on if you have little ones who are heading out early, like 6:30, 7 p.m., we may be okay. But then as we get into 8 p.m. for the taller, larger trick-or-treaters, then yeah, the winds will be picking up in strength through the south and west of the province as well. And look at this. The overnight wind chills are starting to settle in. Saturday afternoon, wind chills. Yep, some cold air in place. So let's take a look at some specifics. Saturday morning for Barrie, again, -1. We're expecting to get some rain and snow mixing for actually even through this evening. So just be mindful of your driving through there. And then Toronto Saturday morning, 2 degrees, waking up to a rain snow mix. Long range is coming up.
Pins.
Today on the show, if you missed it, we took you back to Hawaii, where the town of Pahoa is feeling a little bit of a reprieve. Unfortunately, it's going to be short-lived. We joined Kevin Yard on this spooky Halloween up in Barrie, Ontario.
That we follow the yellow brick road. What do you think? And here we go. Follow, 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 follow the yellow brick road.
And it is no trick that we were seeing snow in Sudbury, where we checked in with Chrissy Van.
Unfortunately, Gabe, my camera operator, doesn't realize here the snowball that I built, well, that's for him. Snowball fight!
Make sure you join us again Monday morning, 5:30 to 9.